Brent Porcio 3X pitch BioMetric here of Trevor Benoit. Take him out of his leg lift. Let's look just before the leg drive. We're going to look at the hip position. We can see that green check is at 20, so not a lot of hip abduction. You can see the knee going inward. We're at 21 degrees of internal rotation. So we're not in a real stable position. The trunk's also leaning back pretty hard. So I call this more of an, anatomic stability, meaning you're just stabilizing into your frame. You're just finding wherever the joint goes until it stops, as opposed to a more muscle active stabilization position where you're actually, say, holding torsion. You're in your quad, your glute. So you're actually building more active stability. So if we look at pelvis position, we can see it's tilting back 8 degrees. So you're more than likely, that's being internally rotated like that, you're just already in your quad dominant. You don't see a lot of load in the ankle either. If we look at the ankle dorsiflexion, it's at about -1. There's really no load in the leg. The leg is just collapsing at this point, and the trunk is leaning far back. So open front foot, and there is a little extension, just not through an unstable base, and you hit front foot, hips are really late. You're holding contralateral tilt, a decent amount, but let's look at that. Your trunk position at front foot strike is 18 degrees, so you're in a good position to separate. And if we look at hips to shoulder line, we can see there is good separation there, but the glove is tucking pretty early. So as you're going into front foot, you can see that glove tucking pretty quickly right there. So looks like you're going to create some early trunk rotation. You can see you're already externally rotating. So, lax, so it's kind of like a little bit of drive, but a collapsing back leg into front foot, even though you held good contralateral position. All this is going to ultimately not create a good sequence of movement if we look at your kinematic sequence. So, and we see it. We see the blue dot at your glove side pulling early, and then we see the red or the hip rotation coming later, and pretty much right there with the trunk rotation with the green. We want a larger margin between this. High velocity pitchers typically have a larger margin, so we would want to see the red dot coming at a higher level. We'd want to see the green and blue dot together somewhere out here where the black dot is, and that would help drive more trunk power going forward, because you can see at pitch release here, trunk orientation is 16 degrees forward. High velocity guy is going to be like 45 degrees forward. You can also see a good amount of contralateral, so that means you are pulling across your body, being more rotational. 32 degrees, 25 is starts to get excessive. So when you collapse back leg, even though you get your trunk in a good position, you just don't have a lot of power coming through the hip, and then everything pretty much syncs up, and you don't have a lot of energy transferring in that trunk going forward. Same time too, the front leg doesn't have time to really drive and get active, because you're going into pitch release really early, because at front foot strike you're in what's called early external rotation. Your arms up and back. You actually still want to be in some internal rotation with more shoulder closed position, not allowing your glove side to tuck that early. And so the key really here for you is, Trevor, is to enhance as much hip to shoulder separation as you can. Delay your trunk, delay your glove side, and really try to be more stable, get more power out of your back side, enhance hip to shoulder separation, and watch all that trunk power go forward and increase your velocity.